I'm Candice Michel, and this is Our Community. You know, we live in one of the most beautiful spots in the world. We have everything right here. The Pacific Ocean, with both sandy and rocky beaches. Pristine, clean rivers for fishing and kayaking. I mean, there's nothing like drifting down the Chetco. Magnificent redwoods and wilderness areas almost within walking distance. Our air and water are clean, our climate is mild, and our population is small. It's a little slice of heaven, and I'm not planning on leaving until they carry me out feet first. But as with anywhere, there are natural disaster possibilities. We don't get hurricanes or tornadoes yet, thank goodness, but we are perched on a couple of fault lines in the Earth's plate. And they are constantly shifting, except when they aren't. And then the pressure builds up along the fault line as the two plates that are next to each other try to get past each other, or one tries to go underneath or tries to go on top. And everything suddenly breaks loose and the plates shudder. That's an earthquake. And we do get some here. Normally they're small enough that we don't even feel them. But the one that happened just off the coast of Russia a few days ago was a big one. It was 8.8, I believe. And there was some damage. The whole topic of disaster preparedness and recovering from natural disasters is a subject that my next guest is very interested in. I'd like to welcome Wes Bruning to the show. Hi, Wes. How are you doing?
Good, Candice. Thank you very much. I'm doing quite well. Thank you.
It's great to have you here, and we are having a beautiful day today.
It is a gorgeous day today.
And we sometimes don't get as much sunshine as we're getting today. I'm just saying. It's been, in fact, it has been so foggy that in my yard, one of my trees has mold on the leaves.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, right?
Well, maybe the wind will blow it off. It's been pretty windy.
It's been extremely windy. And I keep trying because I'm about one lot back from the bluff. I'm very close to you, actually. You're probably getting more wind than I am.
You get a lot of wind, yes.
Yeah. So I've been trying to plant intelligently.
Mm-hmm.
So I plant things that will grow up and hopefully shield me from those crazy north winds when they come in the winter. And really, mostly what's happening is that the wind is just beating the crap out of everything. It's like, okay, that didn't work out too well.
There's no stopping the wind. When it comes, it comes. And boy, does it come down sometimes.
And I noticed that my hydrangeas seem to be doing okay. They seem to withstand the wind fairly well. But, yeah, some of the other stuff is just like...
Our biggest threat beyond the natural disasters is the deer. The deer just devastate everything.
Okay, I have a fence.
You have a fence. That's a good idea.
I'm just saying.
Got protection from something.
Exactly. I've been here since 2004, and I love to garden. I love to plant. Well, that's the reality. I love to plant. Mm-hmm. I don't plan ahead really well in terms of how much space they're going to take up when they get big. I don't plan well. But I love to plant. And I recognized right off the bat that if I was going to have any plants at all in my yard, I had to have a fence that the deer were not going to breach. Mm-hmm. And so I do. And so I have all kinds of things that actually grow in my yard.
That's impressive.
Yes, it absolutely is. And I recommend a fence if you have anything that you actually want protected. You don't have to fence the whole yard, but, like a space, particularly if you've got fruit trees or something like that.
Well, I look at it as we're nourishing the wildlife.
Absolutely.
Somebody's got to feed the poor animals.
I absolutely agree.
So I step forward and help that out. My wife and I both do.
I just love that.
Yeah.
And I do feed them. My apple tree usually produces 10 times more apples.
They love apples, yeah.
Yeah. So I pick them up from the ground when they fall or whatever and put them out in the front of my house by the driveway. And I notice after a few days they're gone.
Yes, they do that.
So, Wes, tell me a little bit about yourself. who are you and what have you done in your life and how did you find Brookings?
Well, we've been down, my wife and I have been down here just a little over 3 years now.
Okay.
We moved down from Oregon City up near Portland.
Okay, I don't know where Oregon City is.
Just about 20, 30 minutes south of Portland.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And, well, Oregon City has a history. It used to be the seat of government for the entire Northwest. As a matter of fact, the plat map for San Francisco was filed in the courthouse in Oregon City.
Okay, I'm shocked.
Yep. That's a surprising event.
Wow.
So it's been around a long time.
It has.
Well, Hudson Bay Company had their office there in Oregon City.
Wow.
John McLaughlin had his house in Oregon City.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So is it still a big place or has it kind of decreased in size?
Yeah, it's kind of decreased inside, yeah. It's just, there's no border between it and the next municipality next door.
Right.
It's one continuous line of houses.
Yeah.
So we moved up there in 77. I moved up in 77 from San Diego.
Oh, where were you in San Diego?
Well, I lived in La Mesa.
Yeah.
And a couple of places. I was going to San Diego State University. Mm-hmm. Got a mechanical engineering degree there.
Yeah. Excellent.
And then came out to work for Tektronix in 1977.
Excellent.
So I was an engineer for them.
Yeah. I lived in San Diego in the 70s. Mm-hmm. I think I left kind of 76, 77, something like that. San Diego was gorgeous back in the 70s.
It was incredible. The first time I got there was 67.
Ooh.
And it must have been heaven on earth. I got there just at the tail end of no smog, no crowds.
Yep.
And it was just incredible.
Yes.
So so I left in 69, went in the Army, and then I got back in about 65, I guess, and then 75, then graduated in 77.
So were you in the Army for all those years?
For 3 of them.
Were
yeah.
you?
Yeah, 3 of them.
And you were in the Army. And
I was.
Were you in Vietnam?
I was, yes.
How did you find that lovely experience?
I'd say I didn't find it. It found me, actually. Yeah. Lovely. Well, that's the eyes and lovely is in the eye of the beholder,
yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
I didn't have it all that bad. There were guys a lot worse than me that have it up there.
Yeah.
I used to watch those fellas come back from long-term, long-range patrol, and they were some of the sorriest-looking fellas I have ever seen. I'd been out there for a month, slogging around in the jungles. Oh, my gosh, that was terrible.
And it's such a completely different environment from anything that we have here.
Oh, yes. The jungles are amazing. Yes, they're terrible.
So you have no clue. You get dropped into a jungle. It's like you've never been in a jungle before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, so I was actually I was in Army intelligence, military intelligence. So I wasn't out slogging around in the jungles myself.
Yep.
And so I'd get reports from what was going on out there, and then I'd do it. I was what was called a analyst. Mm-hmm. So we analyzed order of battle, where the units are, the enemy is, and what kind of strengths they have, what are they doing, all that sort of thing. So it's quite an interesting job.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Did that for a year.
Yeah. So then you came back?
I did. There's only about, I just did some research on this not too long ago, that of all the guys that served on the ground in Vietnam, about 3 million of us, thereabouts.
Wow.
There's only about 300,000 left, about 10% left. Yeah.
Wow.
90% of us are dead.
Wow.
Due to Agent Orange or who knows what.
Yep. Yeah, because, I mean, the chemicals and, not great. And plus which it could not have been fun, so, I mean, the stress must have just been.
Right. Yes, it was. You get to take the random rocket or mortar or something, but I used to teach up at Clackamas College up in the Oregon City area. And after Desert Storm, a number of the soldiers came back. There was a unit in Tigard, a fairly large unit in Tigard, and the soldiers came back from Desert Storm. And I had some of them in my class. It was interesting. And I'd ask them, I said, I see on television, you guys have full uniforms on, and you're out there in the heat, And I'm saying, and when I was in Vietnam, we were stripping down to our skivvies just about because it was hotter in blazes and humid. I said, how do you do that? And they said, well, it wasn't easy. You know, they'd carry water on their backs with, they call it camel, and it'd suck water all day. But the interesting thing that I learned about that was that they had a high number of heart problems with the fellows coming back.
I bet.
And I said, why might that be? He says, well, the heart, while you're over there, you're constantly pumping adrenaline through your body because they're in urban warfare. And he says, you're constantly pumping adrenaline, and that adrenaline is very bad for your heart. So a lot of those guys came back, had heart problems because of that. So there's a little bit of a difference.
Yep, not great. And Afghanistan, that's pretty dry heat, isn't it?
Well, I guess so. I haven't been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly in Vietnam, we had a wet heat.
Yes.
It was very humid.
And that's far worse as far as I'm concerned. I grew up back east, and that was the kind of heat we had, was wet, muggy heat.
90 degrees and 90%.
Exactly. And my brain just switches off. You know, it gets to a certain point, and I can feel it cooking, and it just says, no,
So that's why Brookings is so good.
Oh, I know.
Is heaven out here.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Truly.
I mean, wow. So, okay, so you got an engineering degree?
I did.
And what were you doing? What kind of work was that?
Well, I worked for Tektronix. Now, Tektronix was an electrical instrumentation company, oscilloscopes in particular, as well as other instrumentation. But I was a mechanical engineer. So I did a lot of work on building the cases for instrumentation. We actually had a computer line. We made PCs. Tektronix was one of the first PC companies in the world.
I thought that sounded familiar.
Yeah. We had a desktop PC long before the IBM PC came out.
Wow.
The 4050.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is. And so I went forward with them. And I eventually ended up in the inkjet area. I helped develop the inkjets for printers.
Good for you.
Many years ago, yeah.
And you have a patent?
I do. I have a patent on inkjets from Tektronix, so they owned a patent, and I got to keep my job.
Which is just the best.
Which is a good thing.
I know. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So that was an interesting thing, to get a patent on inkjets.
Yeah.
It's kind of exciting.
Because they're still happening, aren't they?
They are. And I'll tell you, inkjets have come so far from what we were doing way back then. We had 8 colors.
8?
We had 8 colors, yeah. Cyan, magenta, and yellow. And then you had red, green, and blue. Then you had black and a white.
Wow.
8 colors.
Wow.
And we thought it was just fantastic. Look at this. I mean, all we had to that point.
Well, it
was.
It was better than black and white.
Black and white. And then we'd sit around and say, what's anybody ever going to do with a color inkjet printer? Why would you ever want color?
Yeah, why would you?
Why would you ever use that? Oh, my gosh. Little did we know.
Isn't it funny? I mean, I think about this all the time, that where we started out in our lives, I mean, when I was born in 1950, I don't think there was television yet. I don't think television happened in terms of, you know, being in people's homes until I think I was about 4. So, and I distinctly recall that I used to go downstairs when I was a little girl, and we had a fish bowl on top of the TV with usually a goldfish or 2 in it. And I thought I was doing the goldfish a real solid. I would take it out of the fish bowl and go sit down and let it watch TV with me. My mother kept saying, well, because eventually I'd put it back in the fish bowl, right? Because it wasn't moving anymore. And my mother would say to me, why are the fish dying?
Can't understand that.
I can't understand. It's like, I don't know either. I don't know.
I'm kind with them.
I know. Yeah, the things we don't know.
Indeed. The things we don't know. They come back and bite you.
I know. They really do. So you got interested in patents as well.
I did. And as I had a patent. And with the patent, the actual patent document, there is a drawing, a line drawing, just black and white ink. And so I started looking into that, and I found a book that had a bunch of famous patents in it, and patents by famous people. And it had these beautiful drawings. So there's some draftsman, back in the back room, cranking out these gorgeous pen and ink drawings.
Wow.
And nobody ever sees them. And so I said, I like this. So I started doing some research on it and found out there's a lot of famous people that have patents, interesting enough, that you wouldn't think about. I actually talked about this on the Doc and Jock show a week or so ago.
So name me a couple of famous ones that I wouldn't know anything about.
Well, Abraham Lincoln has a patent.
On what?
Well, when he was a young man, as a young lawyer, he traveled up and down the rivers, the Mississippi River and up the Ohio and the others. And these steamboats, the river boats, would run on a sandbar in the river.
Right.
So in order to get the boat off the sandbar, they'd have to unload all the cargo.
Oh, no.
Float it up.
Oh, no.
Get it off the sandbar, and then load the cargo back on. What? It would take a day or two.
That's a pain.
That'd be a big job.
Yeah.
So what he developed was a couple of pontoons that you could put on either side of the boat and inflate them and lower them into the water and lift the boat up with more buoyancy and float off the...
He was a smart guy.
He was a pretty smart guy, yeah.
Wow.
Now, it never went anywhere. It never was commercially adopted, yeah.
That's too bad.
But he made
a great idea.
But he handmade a model of it, and it's in the Smithsonian Institute. You can see it when you go back to DC sometime.
Wow.
So
Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I'll tell you another one was Hedy Lamarr. You remember her?
I do.
Movie star.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, she was more than just a good-looking woman. She was brains. She used to say that all a girl has to do to look glamorous is to stand there and look stupid. That was one of her sayings.
That's awful.
But she developed what's in your cell phone right now today. She developed part of it. So part of the technology for that. She did. She developed frequency hopping. And that's a method of encrypting or encoding your transmissions by changing the frequency that you're broadcasting on. And so it was used as a guidance system in a Mark IV torpedo in World War II.
Unbelievable.
Hedy Lamarr, of all people. Yeah.
Wow. And she was gorgeous.
She was, yeah.
Nice.
She did more than stand there and look stupid, yes.
Yeah, nice that she had a really good brain, too. That's nice. Wow. Huh. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you coming to Brookings. What brought you here?
Total accident.
My
wife did, actually, yes. We were camping up there at Harris Beach in an RV, and my wife said, well, let's go ride around Brookings and see what it's like. I said, okay, fine. So we hop in the car and we're riding around. She goes, oh, let's go in the neighborhoods and see what they're like. Okay, fine. So we're driving around neighborhoods. Oh, look, there's a house for sale. Let's go see what that looks like. So we ended up buying it.
Wow. And when was that?
January 3 years ago.
Wow. I almost bought that house.
Did you now?
Yes.
Well, actually, probably about 80% of towns walk through it at one time or another. Because everybody we talked to said, oh, we looked at that house.
As I recall, and because we moved here in 2004, and it was on the market, but I think the realtor said that the roof was going to have to be replaced or something, and my husband just wanted to be able to move right in and not have to, do major work. So
that was the least of the problems. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a lot of work to do on it before we could even move in.
I saw a lot of the work being done because I'm like 4 houses away from you.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm watching all the work and I'm thinking, oh my goodness.
That's what I said. Oh my goodness.
Wow. But it's a beautiful location.
Oh, it's a gorgeous location. Yes, it is.
Do you sit and watch the birds all the time?
I have a large part of my life is involved in that.
Yep.
Keep track of the seagulls and the penguins or the pelicans and.
I mean, I'm glad that I don't have that view because I would get nothing done.
Very little does get done with me. Now, my wife is very industrious. She's
That's great. One of us has to be, right?
Somebody has to be. That's right.
Exactly.
But I keep track of the seagulls. Yeah. Now she feeds the seagulls. And
does she?
That she can call them.
Oh.
She calls them. She goes out there and calls when they come and fly around, and she gives them bread.
Oh, that's just great. And you've done a lot with that property, too, just in terms of the landscaping.
Well, little by little.
Yeah.
It's all attributed to her work.
Looks great.
She's very good at that.
Looks great. You have any idea who cut the trees down? Who owns that lot? Do you know?
There's an older folks back in Kansas, I believe,
right.
actually own a lot.
Right.
And actually, I had the trees cut down.
Did you?
Yeah, they were threatening.
They were. I was quite sure that one of those branches was going to come flying into my yard.
one of those branches did come down.
Did it?
And shortly after that I contacted them and said, we got a problem here.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then they were agreeable to me taking them out.
Yep. No, it looks so much better.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah. No, it's gorgeous. Okay, so you're in Brookings and you get inspired to do something about disaster preparedness?
Indeed. Indeed, I did.
Talk to me about that.
Well, it's something that I've been interested in for quite some time. When I was in Oregon City, I had solar panels. We were pretty much off-grid.
Mm-hmm.
We were connected to the grid, but we could operate outside the grid. And just concerned about just security and what happens when everything falls apart. You know,
Which it will.
Can you live
eventually.
through it?
Yeah,
And that sort of
right,
thing.
right.
So we moved to Brookings here, and we're somewhat at risk.
Somewhat?
Somewhat at risk, indeed.
You mean because we're sitting astride the Cascadia Fault?
That could well have something to do with it, yes.
Yeah.
And indeed we are. So, yeah, we're at risk for that. We're at risk for the winds we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
Fires that we were talking about earlier, that just three or 4 years ago, we had fires almost coming over the hill.
Yes.
We're fairly isolated.
Yep.
So if we do have a serious problem, we're one of the last people to be addressed by any aid, government aid.
You have to want to get to Brookings.
You have
to want it really bad.
That's
right. It's not like you're not going to stumble across it. Yeah. Absolutely. And we've got exactly one road going in and out of our fair city.
And then a bridge on each end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that work?
Well, it works good so long as they're still standing.
Yes. But in the event that it's not standing, we're in a bit of a pickle.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So along those lines then, I started, we're about to start a radio show, just like this one that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And it's called the Cascadia Strong radio talk show.
Perfect.
So Cascadia Strong. And the idea is Cascadia it's the northwest coast area. So you're looking at southern, all the Oregon coast, Washington coast up into British Columbia, and maybe even northern California. But this area has special risk associated with it. You mentioned the Cascadia Fault. Indeed, that's out there.
Yep. And not far out there.
Not very
From
far.
what I understand, it's, it's right out there.
Not very far.
No.
Yeah. So those who know these things say that we're due for another major earthquake. Now, I've been hearing that ever since I was a kid, which is not that long ago.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, it is. It was centuries ago. Don't
Thank
be
you very
silly.
much.
Well, listen, you're probably about my age, so I'm just saying. So, really, you've been hearing about that since you were...
Oh, yeah. When I left Virginia when I was 19 years old, my mother would tell me, now California's going to break off and fall in the ocean. Everybody knows that.
Exactly.
It was San Andreas,
Yes.
Now, she didn't know anything about the Cascadia Fault.
No.
But San Andreas was certainly going to, California was going to...
No, I got the same thing from my family, too, yeah.
So it's all part of the same idea, even though they're named different faults.
Yep.
Probably associated with each other somehow.
Yep.
But we're at risk here with the Cascadia Fault, as well as our isolation, as well as fires, which we experienced recently, earthquakes, tsunamis, the whole ball of wax. You drive up and down the coast, you see tsunami signs.
Yep.
You
are entering,
tsunami zone.
You are finally leaving.
Then you're leaving.
Yes, I know.
Exactly.
And were you aware when that first tsunami warning went back in March, I think it was? So everything broke down. I mean, they didn't have, nothing worked the way it was supposed to work.
Yeah.
And I think I had Jeff Hughes, who's the emergency manager up at the county, come on the show and talk a little bit about what their protocol is and preparations and stuff like that. And I noticed that the tsunami warning that we got, when was it? A few days ago, worked much better. I mean, I was on a Zoom call and my phone was blowing up. I just, and these were the notifications from the sheriff's department that we were under an advisory for a tsunami. And obviously the earthquake was off of Russia, so it was going to take hours for it to get the tsunami to get here. But better we have some warning than none.
That's one of the good things about the tsunami is we generally have, I believe, some time.
Yep.
Now, in some cases, like if the Cascadia happens, we've got like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But if it comes across from Japan, we've got hours.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's kind of a nice thing. Whereas an earthquake, it happens right now.
Yep.
You have really no warning whatsoever.
Yep. And they are saying that the big one for the Cascadia Fault happens every 300 years or so, and it's been a while.
It's been a little over 300 years.
Yeah, we're overdue.
But, in the meantime, while we're anxiously anticipating that, we have other things to deal with as well, like forest fires.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole idea of the Cascadia Strong radio talk show is to look at preparing. See, my philosophy is I've got two basic fundamentals that I'm working off of. One is the idea that if you know something is coming and it's unavoidable and you don't prepare for it, you're really not thinking too well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got to admit that some of us don't think too well.
Well, I think one of the problems is that it's such a huge thing.
Prodded.
It's such a huge thing.
It is.
That it's better to avoid it. So we just kind of pack it away and say someday, And who knows? Like I said, I've been hearing about this since I was a kid.
Yep.
So it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
So what the heck?
Right.
So you can look at it that way. So the thing of it is, if you just put your head in the sand and think, it won't happen to me, that's not a good idea.
Not a good idea, because it just might happen.
It just might happen.
Yeah.
So, what I think about it along those lines is that the Cascade rupture happening in the next couple hours, the probability is virtually zero. But the Cascade rupturing in the next 30 years,
Right.
is extremely high.
Yes.
So every day that it doesn't, the probability of it occurring just gets a little tiny bit more.
Yep.
Because it's going to happen. We just don't know when. The other thing that guides me is that knowledge and preparation tend to eliminate fear.
Mm-hmm.
And
because you know what you're going to do.
We know what we're going to do. Exactly right. So in preparing for these things, even though they're almost mind-boggling, you don't want to deal with them.
Right.
But you buy car insurance. You don't want to be in a car wreck.
Right.
But you buy insurance just in case, right?
Yep.
And
homeowners insurance.
all that stuff.
Exactly.
So the idea of preparing now in anticipation of this happening, hopefully it won't. Maybe it'll be wasted money. That'd be nice. And wasted effort. That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But to not have done something and then have it occur, you say, gee, I wish I would have.
Yeah, exactly. You're kicking yourself.
Yes, exactly.
And that's not a good position.
So in preparing, we can develop confidence. We have a plan. We can kind of face it with less, without fear. Put it that way. Right. Maybe some anxiety, but certainly we know what we're doing.
Right.
And that's the whole idea. Those two things are kind of what guides me.
So I'm assuming you're going to have lots of guests on your show to talk about their various areas of expertise.
Well, not only that, but also we have a lot of people in this town that have been through stuff.
Yeah.
I know 2 families in town that were burned out 5 years ago. Their houses were destroyed and they lost everything.
Here in town?
Here in town, yes.
So the Chetco bar fire up the...
Well, it was they were living in Southern Oregon at the time.
Okay.
And
we had lots of fires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And their houses were destroyed.
Yep.
So we have people that have lived through the forest fires. We've had there's a couple in town that the woman was in the Northridge earthquake.
Oh yeah.
Out of California, a huge one.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
The freeways fell down and everything.
Yep.
She was there for that.
Wow.
We'll talk to her.
Yeah, excellent.
About that.
I know there's a Paradise survivor here. There's probably a lot of Paradise fires survivors here. But I ran into her the other day, and yep, she lost everything.
That was Teresa.
Yeah. It's just awful.
So they'll be on the show.
Good.
Yeah, we'll be talking with them.
Right.
And the idea is to say, okay, and there's another couple as well. And the idea is to say, okay, you knew this was coming. How was it? What happened?
Right.
You know, and kind of get a view of the disaster through their eyes because they experienced it.
Yep.
And then how'd they recover?
Yep.
How's life been since?
Right.
You lose everything.
Yep.
So how do you start over
even
again?
come back from something like that?
And what kind of emotional turmoil did you experience? And then have a psychiatrist or a psychologist on the show talking about how you deal with trauma.
Yep. Yep.
So that's part of it as well.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of human experience. We're going to talk to people about what preparation have we done. As an example, if you require medication, and all of a sudden now we're isolated for some reason, how are you going to get your meds? What is Fred Meyer doing to help prepare for this thing that we know we're coming?
Yes.
The pharmacy companies. What about the electric company? What have they done?
Yep.
What about the water company?
Yep.
What are they doing to help us deal with this? Because you're 3 days without water, you're done for.
Yep.
So there's every time you take one aspect of this and you poke at it a bit, it just fractures into 5 or 6 more topics.
Yeah, it does.
It's huge.
I know.
And that's one reason people say, I'm not going to deal with that.
Yeah,
Just
because it
lock it away.
feels like it's so big. It's just so big.
But there are things that we can do to start. Small things we can do to start step by step, preparing for whatever's headed our way. Hopefully we never use them.
Right.
But to not do something, to not start doing something, is just sticking our head in the sand.
And I kind of think that in the last 6 months, we've had 2 tsunami warnings. And that's a lot. We don't usually get 2 in 6 months. I mean, if we get 1 every 4 or 5 years, that's a lot. So, and I have heard that the whole ring of fire is very active right now. And that's all the way, that big circle, all the way to Russia and back. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's more likely than not that we're going to see something. And we need to be prepared in some way, shape, or form, I would think.
One thing that I've been very interested in, or very excited to hear, was there are organizations in place that have been preparing for this for quite a while.
Yeah.
So we're not alone in
No.
this. People have been thinking about this. Organizations have been thinking about it, been stockpiling food and water and tents and survival gear and that sort of thing
Yep.
that may be available and able to get to us fairly quickly if it's indeed required.
And the Red Cross is like number 1 on that list. I had Karen Johnson Dagenet in here for an interview as well, and she's Red Cross, and she was telling me about all these stashes that they have of, equipment and food and stuff like that. And Red Cross, they know what they're doing. Emergency hits and they are on the ground like immediately because they've been through it a million times. I mean, I think Karen is in Texas right now helping with the flood stuff. So it's, yeah.
I hope to have Karen on the show.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's actually, her specialty is the psychological trauma.
Yeah.
So
That'll help.
definitely be talking to her about that.
Definitely. Because PTSD is a real thing.
It's a very real thing.
And if you've been through, like, let's say a wildfire, like some of those people from Paradise or the people who live on top of Gardner Ridge when the Chetco Bar fire was coming down, I mean, they could see that fire coming. And a couple of them lost some structures. I mean, it's just like, yeah. So there is a whole aspect of, you see the smoke in the air or you smell the smoke and suddenly it brings it all back up again and, you're reliving the trauma. And, I have a friend who lives up on Gardner Ridge and her son was pretty young when the Chetco Bar fire was coming and they had to get out of there. And they couldn't go down the regular road because that was closed off. And I mean, it turned into a real thing. And for several years afterwards, he was traumatized if he saw smoke in the air or.
I was talking with a with a fellow the other day who was talking to another fellow. Now you're getting this hearsay, so third hand. But nonetheless, he was talking to this fellow, and his wife was pretty much a recluse in the house. And the fellow asked him, well, what's the matter? Why is your wife, so traumatized? Well, she was in a severe earthquake, and a lot of her china fell out of the china cabinet and crashed and broke. And it was china that had come across on the Oregon Trail with her grandmother, great-great-grandmother. And that just totally devastated her, that she had lost those family heirlooms. They were so precious to her. So you never know what's going to affect, how people are going to be affected by various things.
No, that's right. That's right.
And so these things do have a psychological effect on us. Right.
So I was thinking about neighborhoods because, I'm sure that there is some kind of area-wide plan, although I haven't seen it. So you never know. But neighborhoods are going to be really important because, I was thinking about this the other day. If all of us in our neighborhood, we get the call that you got to head for the hills because the huge tsunami's coming, we're all going to be on that same road trying to head for higher ground. We're not going to make it. We're going to be in a parking lot. It'll be a traffic jam.
Well, yeah, if you try to drive, I think that'll probably be the case.
Yeah.
So you're going to hoof it. That's right.
Well,
you grab your go bag.
My husband doesn't walk.
Well, we have a problem there. And that's where the neighborhood thing comes into place, because I think you're right, Candice, that neighborhoods are going to be the answer to this whole thing. That people helping people, and knowing who the recluses are, the shut-ins, the old people that aren't mobile, those people, and having a plan to care for them, and help them in whatever manner they need help, is essential to this whole thing. Now, as you said, we're fairly isolated here. You got one way in, one way out. And help isn't nearby.
No.
So we're all we got.
Yeah.
So neighborhood organization is key. So what I'd like to see, and hopefully what comes out of this radio effort, is that we organize neighborhood by neighborhood. That could be a couple of streets. And so when something does come, we know each other.
Yes.
We have a plan.
Right.
So-and-so is responsible for this. So-and-so is responsible for that. We grab it. We put it together. And we help each other out.
Yeah. It's really the only thing that makes sense, because I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, all right, so we get a tsunami warning, and I've got maybe 15 minutes. I can't get my husband physically into the car in 15 minutes. He walks with a walker. He's extremely slow, and that's assuming he's even awake. And in addition to getting my husband, I have to get my dog. So, I'm not seeing a high percentage of success for that if I have to do it by myself.
Sure.
If I have help, then I can probably manage it.
One or two people come over and help you do that, and it happens fairly quickly.
Yep. And I'm sure that there are people who have kids in the neighborhood, and somebody should round up the kids and make sure that the kids are all taken care of and they're not running loose, and and everybody's got pets. Everybody has dogs, a lot of dogs. So there's a lot. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to plan for.
Every time you poke at something, you find five more subtopics that expose themselves.
Exactly. There is this organization that KCIW belongs to. It's called the Curry County Community Organizations Active in Disaster. It's a COAD. And evidently COADs are a thing, that a lot of places have COADs, because you can't just leave it up to your government officials. They don't have the time. They just can't focus on just that. And community organizations have a much bigger reach. We have people that we know that we can help organize. One of the women who is actually acting as the executive director right now is also in charge of animals. So large animal evacuation, because we got lots of ranches around here, and those horses and cows need to be evacuated if what we've got is a fire coming across those hills. So it's so complex.
When I was in Oregon City, well, we moved down here, like I say, a little over 3 years ago, and we were in Oregon City during the big fires that, like everyone was here in Oregon. And I remember going to a local shopping center, which wasn't too far away from my place, and the whole parking lot was full of horses, sheep, goats. You know, people had brought all their animals in from the farms, and there they were in the parking lot.
Yep.
And now you got to get them water. You got to get them food.
Yep.
You got to take care of their poop. You know, all that stuff.
Which is going to be a lot.
Which is going to be a lot.
Yes.
Well-fertilized parking lots.
Well-fertilized parking lot, yeah, absolutely.
And so there they were. And where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You know, you got 50 head of cows or something.
Exactly.
And, so it's a huge deal. And think about it before.
Get evacuated. You know, I had a friend who was living, a friend and her husband who were living up off of Carpenterville, and they were evacuated twice from their home. And both times they came to me because I was close and, you know, I have an empty bedroom. But it's so jarring to have your entire life just suddenly like a box of pickup sticks thrown up in the air, and you know you've got 5 minutes to collect your valuables and get in the car and get out of there, or the cops are going to chase you out. So, you know, it's
one of the couples we'll be talking with had 15 minutes to evacuate. And then their house was actually burned to the ground.
Oh, God.
They had an aluminum boat in the driveway, and the boat melted.
Oh.
It was a pile of molten aluminum when they came back. It was so hot. The fellow said the only thing left of his motorcycle, the only thing left of his motorcycle were the piston rings.
Wow.
I can't imagine that.
I can't either.
But that was the case. Yeah.
Horrific. I remember the Chetco Bar fire when it blew up, which was on a Friday, I think. And it had evidently been a lightning strike that had happened way in the backcountry a month before, and just kind of smoldered, you know, did a little bit of traveling, but not big. And they figured that it would burn itself out. It wouldn't make it very far. And then I think we had some Chetco winds, and it blew up and traveled miles in a day, just miles. And I remember looking at the sky. I was doing an interview with somebody, and I happened to look out the window, and the sky had been kind of normal when I went in, but now it was yellow and that hazy kind of, you know. And I thought, wow, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because that's close.
Yeah.
And it came within 5 miles of town.
Well, in Oregon City, again, just several years ago, the air was yellow, just as you described. We were evacuated. And I talked to the fire marshal later, and he said, the fire was 22 miles away. I go, well, that's pretty good. 22 miles is good. He said, it was moving at 22 miles an hour. We were 1 hour from being engulfed with the flames. So hence we were all evacuated. So the fire can move incredibly fast.
Yeah, it really can. It really can.
Well, it jumped the Columbia River. You remember the gorge fire?
I do remember that.
No one ever thought it would jump the Columbia River. But sure enough, the fire that was started by a couple of kids on the Oregon side jumped over and set fires in the Washington side.
And when you look at what happened in L.A., because I had several friends who were still living in L.A., those fires were virtually unstoppable. They had become so big and so hot and ferocious, and the winds were blowing. I think they said that, you know, at one point they were 70, 80 mile an hour winds that were fueling that. And they were what they call the Santa Anas there, which is the same as our Chetco effect. When the winds are blowing down the canyon and bringing hot air with them. It's just, yeah, it's appalling.
It is.
It's appalling, and there's no way to fight it.
No way.
I mean, there's not enough water to put the fire out. There just isn't.
Well, the problem is we got a lot of water right over there,
Yeah.
and we just can't get it where the fire is.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of water in the ocean, but it's salt. I'm not sure what salt water would do to a fire.
We can put it out.
Do you think?
I think so.
I don't know. Maybe there's something about salt that it doesn't, I don't know.
We'll find out.
I guess.
We'll get some firefighters in and we'll talk to them about that very thing.
And that would
Exactly.
be great. That would be great. I've gone over to the valley several times since the fire that we had, I guess, 2-3 years ago. And, you know, you drive through the tunnel and this moonscape landscape is on the other side where just everything was burned. Yeah.
So that's gonna be what we're going to talk about. I've got about
Good.
30 episodes defined, and
Wow, you're doing it.
been getting it together here.
I am so impressed. That's
And,
excellent. When do you foresee this starting?
Well, it's the beginning of August right now. I'm thinking September.
Great.
Yeah, early September. Hopefully, we'll do our first show.
That's great. Excellent. There are a lot of people in this community who know a lot.
Exactly. And I'd really like to have some of them, those who have lived through disasters,
Yep.
as well as have disaster training and experience. I'd love to have them on the show.
Yep.
So if they could contact me through either the radio station here or through email, and the email is Cascadia Strong Radio @gmail.com. That's Cascadia, Cascadia, radio show @gmail.com. And email me and let me know you exist and what you know. We'll get in contact and see if we can work something out. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, there are quite a few people here who have some, and there are people who are, so like the food bank, for instance. I mean, that's a critical piece, because not only do they have food supplies, but they know a lot of the people who need food. So, you know, it's really a nice thing to have neighbors the way we have neighbors.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. And if something big happens and we are isolated, we're going to be here for a while.
Yep.
I mean, it's not going to be a matter of a day or two. It's going to be weeks, if not months, that we're going to have to become good friends.
And I was told by someone that the reality is that they may not be able to get to us except by ship.
Helicopter.
Depending on, I mean, yes, although I would think the helicopters will be being used somewhere else. I mean,
Well, you know, the government, FEMA, if it's still there,
Yep.
or whatever government agency comes out of FEMA, however that works, they're going to be consumed with Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Los
absolutely.
Angeles. And Brookings is not high enough on the priority list.
No. I mean, we've got 6,200 people, 6,500 people. You know, we're not big, but those of us who live here think we're important.
Oh, we are absolutely.
But it's clearly going to be up to us to
Truly.
you know, get things in place. And I think that a show like yours, Wes, is, if for no other reason, to have the information available on like a weekly basis where we're hearing it, we're hearing what the possibilities are, we're hearing what there is to do about it, it's brought up in our minds so that we are thinking about it. I think that will probably give a little gentle nudge to some of us who are dragging our feet because it seems so enormous. The task seems so enormous.
Indeed, and it's so fearful, and it can be so fearful. They just say, "I don't want to deal with it."
Yeah, exactly.
But as we address it, and you take it step by step, piece by piece,
Yep.
and you start getting your handles, get your arms around it,
Yep.
and the fear dissipates.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm worried about the bridges. You know, I mean, we could probably swim across the Chetco if we absolutely had to. So we could probably get from Brookings to Harbor if we had to. But there's no going across that bridge that's north of us. I mean, 300 and something feet.
What's the highest, they say it's the highest bridge in the United States or something?
Or it's at least in Oregon. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
And then, of course, in 199, going from here, all the cliffs and the road goes along the edge of the gorge there.
No.
That's probably going to be gone.
I mean, it's not a safe road to begin with. Okay, some of us have a little bit of like, okay, I got to go on 199, huh?
I won't drive that road at night. I lost two tires on that road.
No.
At night.
Oh, no.
Due to a landslide. I hit broken shale, lacerated 2 tires. Not 1, but 2.
Wow. Yeah, my daughter and her husband were coming over for Christmas, and they come down from British Columbia, but they come down 5 and cut over on 199. And it was one of those trips where, and if anything bad could happen, it did. So in addition to my grandson somehow getting himself wrapped up in his seat belt, and he was at least 12 or 13 at this point. So how he did that, one doesn't know, but he couldn't get out. He had wrapped himself up in the seat belt. So anyway, they had to seek firefighter help to get him out of his seat belt. They had to cut it. But in addition to that, as they were coming over 199, there was a rock slide right in front of them. Missed them, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean.
Well, my experience, it was at nighttime, and it was just about a mile east of Patrick Creek, and right on the cliff there. Ooh. I lost 2 tires, both front and back, and on the driver's side. So I pulled forward a little ways and found a little turn off in the road. Right. Sitting there in the middle of the night, waiting for the AAA guy to come, just waiting for Bigfoot to come down and push me over the ledge.
Say hi to Bigfoot for me next time. Yeah.
I would do that, yes.
So were you coming towards us or going away from us? Towards us?
West, yeah.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of room on those roads. I mean, you're lucky if you can find a turnout. But yeah.
Fortunately, I was only doing about 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Wasn't going fast at all, but it was enough to take care of the tires.
Oh, my God.
$1,200 later, Gillette Schwab. You got to replace all 4 of them.
Oh, God.
You can't replace just 2.
No. So, that's awful.
Yeah, it was. It was terrible.
So who do you think is going to be your first guest?
Well, that's a good question. Well, first off, Ray Simon is going to be doing this with me. Ray is usually one of our technicians here in the sound technician. So he's going to be co-hosting.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So early on, we're going to be kind of just doing the general thing, looking at what kind of organizations are available. And you've mentioned a couple of them and a couple of the people there. And then we're going to talk about making a plan, a disaster plan. Yep. How do you make a go bag? What should be in it? Yep. How do you prepare for the longer term? Right. Then we'll eventually look at talking to people about their fire experiences and earthquake experiences and their personal trauma that they went through. Yep. Talk about the emotional support. Yep. And what's available there. And then we're going to talk about how do you get water. Yes. What do you do for food? Yes. What do you do for communications? The ham radio operators are going to be invaluable. Yes, they are. With all the cell towers going to be
absolutely. And with any luck, radio will be able to.
This station right here should be a good source.
With any luck, right? As long as we've got backup generators and, exactly. With any luck at all.
KCIW should be a good source of information.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Crescent City to Gold Beach, yeah.
And I, thanks to Tom, who's the tech person extraordinaire here.
Who's sitting right there.
Who's sitting right there, yes. He showed me how I can break into the broadcast from home on my computer. Mm-hmm. So when we were in the tsunami advisory the other day, at about 10 o'clock at night, I broke in and said that, we're in an advisory, don't go down to the beach, don't, blah, blah, blah. And interestingly, like when I came back into the station the next day, 2 people had heard me do that. And they said, oh, I'm so glad you did that because it had relieved my anxiety. So I hate to tell you this, but we are almost out of time.
Oh, my.
I know. It happens
so quick.
Really fast. So give your contact information again, if you will, Wes.
All right. The email would be Cascadia Strong Radio @gmail.com. It's all one word. Those 3 words are all one word. It's Cascadia, Cascadia Strong Radio @gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And thanks for doing this because we need our awareness level brought up. We need to increase our awareness and our preparedness.
Indeed. And I plan on learning a lot and preparing as well.
Good. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in. We never know when the next disaster is going to hit. It could be an earthquake, a tsunami, or a wildfire. We have exactly one road into and out of our community, which is 101. We all need to be prepared. I'm Candice Michel, and this is our community.